Yeah, we find her, the beautiful girl we've been missing. We wanna have her kissing. We find her, now we in love. Say Gossip, the remix.
EMB, Tuck Spice, remix.
Now if I had to lose you like a bad phone connection, I'd change my game to get a better reception. Sit back, let's start this interaction. Don't fight the feelings, just a chain reaction. Your heart won't give you the wrong instructions. Like my GPS, yes I got the right direction. We gotta merge together like a road intersection. Last stop is gonna be my love and affection. I ain't like the mother dudes, they wanna call you shorty, but I'ma call you a beautiful girl. I took your picture home, my mama saw it, she's a very, very beautiful girl. I wanna put you in my video, cause you're so beautiful. You're a beautiful girl. So when you hear us on your radio, turn up your stereo. It's beautiful girl.
Gotta find a shorty who's worth of a lady. It's nice but maybe doesn't look like 40 yet. It's taking a little time. I wasn't seeing no signs, any traces of my baby. Who's gonna be my baby? But I thought I'm gonna take my time. Within took a love fine eye. I saw a shorty passing by. She's got this very pretty smile. It was right at the pen station. I tried to make a conversation, holding her arms, feeling so charmed. I felt the sensation. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Now I realize I found me a beautiful girl. She's a model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it by. Beautiful girl, sparkling eyes are killing it tight. I found me a beautiful girl.
My wish came true when I saw you, girl. God must have blessed me with your beauty, girl. Looking so right from your head to your toe. Shaped like a Coke bottle with a smile of a queen. My queen to be, you my destiny. Got a body of a goddess with your beauty. I'm impressed and I'm never in distress. Come on over and be mine. Been searching for a man and now all the cats keep looking to mine. With a sexy walk and a sexy talk. She must be from a planet called the sexy world. I know I ain't tripping, better yet I'm thinking put a ring on the finger. We look good together. Take your place in my heart. With your beauty I must say that I'll never turn away. Who would think I'm in love?
Such the way she smiles at me just really makes me weak. The way she speaks to me just really make me go so weak. Keep staring in her eyebrows. All I kept on saying is wow. Your beauty shines and breeze at night. All I really want in my life. Oh yeah. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it. Beautiful girl. Sparkling night, killing tight. I found me a beautiful girl. Yeah, beautiful girl. What beautiful girl, yeah. Beautiful girl.
Damn. Money. You seen her? Hot Ice. Have you seen her? LP. Have you seen her? I'ma go over to Tux Bites. I know you've probably seen her. He has a lot of beautiful girls with him. Tux, it's DMV, baby. Look.
Beautiful.
I look for a while, but I can't seem to find a beautiful girl so I can make her mine. Time after time I've been searching for a while, but every girl I meet never seems worthwhile. What can I do? I pray to God for an answer. I feel pains in my heart like cancer, and when I find her, I'm gonna romance her. Lace several presents and gifts, call me Santa Claus. I make a heartbeat pause. That's my girl, homeboy, not yours. The girl of my dreams, she's more than I ever thought. Show me ass and culture, I think I'm getting punked. She's what I really want, so I'ma go get her. Since I'm a go getter, you know I'm gon' get her. And I will give her the world, anything for my beautiful girl.
It's like, ooh, it's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine, brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it, beautiful girl. Sparkling night, killing time. I found a beautiful girl.
Girl, it's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Me love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.
Ladies and gentlemen of Prestige, welcome back. How is everyone doing? If you can hear me loud and clear, please do let me know in the chat. If you can hear me loud and clear, do let me know in the chat. Okay. The microphone, the cable behind the microphone is a little choppy, so I want to make sure you can hear me loud and clear. I promise I won't touch it. I won't touch anything. Okay. How's everyone doing? Everybody good? As you're coming in, do me a favor. Hit that like button. That's how we let everyone know we're hanging out right now. All right. It's always obviously a lot more fun live. But just let everybody know. Welcome. Can you hear me loud and clear? Shout out to D-Love. D-Love, good to see you. Hello. Teach us guru. You call me a guru. Okay. Shout out to you. Hit that like button. Welcome back. Lady Navoa, good to see you, fam. Good to see you. Welcome. Thank you for always supporting. Gorex, good to see you again, Gorex. Welcome. All right, awesome. Can you hear me loud and clear, by the way? I'm guessing yes. Nobody's letting me know, but shout out to you all. Welcome. Life with Natu. Good to see you. Welcome. We're talking about your topic today. We're doing the first part of your topic today as well. But it's something that we're going to talk about heavily on Valentine's Day when my wife is here. But welcome back. How's everyone doing? If you're listening to me behind the scenes, do me a favor. Just all you have to do is just hit that like button. I appreciate you. Hit that like button. Okay. Thank you so much. Let's cover quickly in a few seconds the house rules. Let's cover the house rules. Yep. Welcome to Men of Prestige. My name is Ola. Coming to you live from my Empire Pro Studios. Over here, we talk about relationships. We talk about power, seduction, attraction, emotional intelligence, patience, love, and marriage. Today we're going to dive in a little bit deeper into the seduction stuff, but we're going to go from the back. Pause. Okay, but yeah, we're going to talk about that today a little bit as well. All right, today we're talking about the secret behind the happiest marriages. I see that quite a few of you are excited about that topic. But it's an ongoing topic. It's not just today that we'll cover that. Okay, it's an ongoing topic. So it's not just today. Okay, it's something that we'll keep covering. Thank you, Jared D. Love. She said loud and clear. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right, let me just go ahead and pin this to the top. If you're not yet a member of the hit that like button. The likes are low. Hit that like button before we get started. Thank you. We're missing at least 5 people hitting the like button. Okay, hit that like button. Do me a favor. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Hit that like button. All right, thank you. We're missing 2 now. Thank you so much. All right, let's do this. Let's talk about this. So again, today we're talking about the happiest the secret behind the happiest marriages. And on the thumbnail, we have two different, of course, as usual. We make two different versions of the thumbnail. The first one, where are we? Okay. The first one, the one that brought you inside, probably is this one. This is Omoni Oboli and her husband. Omoni Oboli is another actress out of Nigeria. Okay. We don't know anything about this marriage. We just know that on the surface, it looks like they figured something out. Can we safely say that? Right? It just looks like they figured something out on the surface, right? By tomorrow, you might see a different thumbnail. We have Omotola Jalade Ekeinde. Same thing, okay? But yeah, we're going to talk about the happiest marriages. We all admire what the happiest marriages look like on the outside. We all acknowledge that they do exist. We also all acknowledge that be careful what you envy because you don't know what people, But that's not an excuse for us not to learn the principles. Okay, that will. Oh, you never know. Will always be a terrible excuse to not learn what it takes to build successful relationships and especially marriages. Okay, I hear it all the time. Just another talking point. It's excuse for reason to just disengage from the ideal. We understand that most people will never achieve ideal, right? We understand that. But that's the whole point of it. That's the joy in it. It's this pursuit of happiness, right? It's a journey of faith, right? And if you're aware that it can be better, then why not? It's like, why not? Oh, why not? Because you never know if they're truly happy. You're right, Betty. Why is that the first place your mind went to, right? Why can't it be like, I'm curious, I want to know, right? Shout out to everyone that's watching me right now. Obviously, you want to know, right? So welcome. Chinye, welcome. She said, I love them. Awesome. And Kemi is here. Shout out to Kemi. Hit that like button as you're coming in. All right. So, Isabel. Hey, Isabel. Good to see you. All right. So that's what we want to cover today. I was still covering the house rules. The books, you can download the books for free at loveandprestige.com. We are working on the book, the actual book, Love and Prestige. We're working on it. Okay. So look out for that. Okay. We're working on it. All right. And obviously, we do have coaching available. You will have to book it ahead of time. So if it's something you need, you have to, the earlier you decide, the better, right? And it's paid, just so you know. Okay. So it's at lolaandola.com/coaching. And if you're not yet a part of the Prestige family on WhatsApp, the only way to guarantee notifications, okay, when I do come live, you can join at lolaandola.com/WhatsApp. It takes you right into the group if you're coming from your phone. All right. So you can join using that link. Okay. 99% guaranteed, 99.99% guaranteed notification if you join the Prestige family on WhatsApp. And you can use that phone number if that link doesn't work. All right. So again, let's talk about this today. Funny enough, this particular title was inspired by Reno Omokri. Okay. Reno Omokri. All right. That's who that's who inspired today's title. And he wrote something on social media as he normally does. Who is Reno Omokri? Reno Omokri, I don't know what he does. Funny enough, but he was a politician, I guess. He was a guy who worked in the as some kind of advisor under the Goodluck Jonathan administration. He's a political commentator, always having something to say, but he has a lot to say also with family issues on social media. And I think he might be a pastor too, but let's just call him a social media enthusiast. Right? Abikilongpe. And enthusiast, what is it? Yeah, English Komileno. But you get the gist, right? It's basically a social media personality at this point. Okay. He has a lot to say, and he has quite a large followership online as well. But he said something, and I felt like, you know what, we need to talk about this, let's break it down. So I'm going to share that with you. Along with that, I have a few other things to cover, and then we'll get to them as we move along. Okay. Let me see. Chia says, I thought it was some type of pastor minister as well, but in like to the mission times. Right. So generally speaking, I don't know him personally, but he comes off very, very his rhetorics, especially when it comes to family and dating and things like that, they come off very, very lame. When I say lame, I don't mean an insult. I mean lack of game. Okay. So let's talk about it. I'm going to share my screen right now. All right. That's Reno Omokri. That's the guy we're talking about. That's him right there. Reno Omokri, he has a lot to say. And every time he says something, Instablog Nigeria, shout out to Instablog Nigeria, always carry on. So we're going to talk about this today. She is a lame as hell. Okay. I try not to be insulting, but it seems to have a pattern there, and we have to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Hit that like button if you just came in. Shout out to all 16 of you watching live. Shout out to everybody that will watch rebroadcast. All right, so let's talk about what he has to say here. I'm gonna just go ahead and just analyze his words, okay, and then we'll move on to the other stories because we have a lot to say. He says how 90% of the problems in modern marriage can be solved. Huh? Killer me, brother. You have the solution. I think he's a married man as well, right? Right? He's a married man. So I can't front. He probably knows something about marriage. If he's a married man. I don't know if he's a married man. He also teaches a lot of money stuff on YouTube as well. But yeah, I figure we should talk about it. Let's talk about it because again, there's elements of truth in what lame people always lace their stuff with elements of truth. So you might just find out one line that you relate with and you're like, that makes sense. What makes sense? Like this type of what makes sense. This one right here. So, but let's get to it. Let's get into it right now. So he says the happiest marriages happen when women choose of their own free will. Okay, that sounds good so far, right? After all, that's what we want, right? We want women to be empowered to the point that they have their own free will. When they choose of their own free will. So far, nothing will make sense, right? It makes sense. Gorex says he has turned to presidential candidate's promoter. I think he's always been one of those, right? It's a PDP. It's a PDP empathizer. Heavy PDP empathizer. So yeah. But let's keep going here. He continues to say, so this is where I got the title from. Women choose of their own free will to marry men that they want to follow and obey. Follow and obey, right? Nothing bad so far. Okay. Yeah. To marry men that they want to follow and obey. The only thing is I'm like wondering, do women marry men that they don't want to follow and obey? Yes. Okay. But what about majority of women? Because he's talking about 90% of the problems in modern marriage? What about majority? Can we claim that majority are marrying men they can't follow and obey? Is that the problem? Because he's right. If that's the problem, he's absolutely correct. All you have to do is stop marrying men that you can't follow and obey. And 90, I don't know what the rest of the 10% is, but 90% of problems with modern marriage would disappear. In essence, so far, based on what Mr. Reno Omokri is saying, it's in the condition of modern marriage is in the hands of women. Lower, right? Ìyá lọ́wọ́ rẹ̀ ló wà o, lọ́wọ́ rẹ̀ ló wà, right? Gbogbo agbára, right? That's what that statement says. Okay, 90%, not gbogbo, not all of it. 90% is in the hands of women. Essentially, that's what he's saying. So far. Show makes sense so far. Is he making sense so far? Dilo said, follow and obey. Okay, oh. Kemi says, obey is wrong so far. You should just join the obedient gang at this point, right? Right? Grace says, do most of the women nowadays marry to obey? That's a question. Do they marry to obey? Do they marry to not obey? Are women marrying? So there's a little caveat here. Let's look at this closer, right? He says the happiest marriages happen when women choose of their own free will to marry men that they want to follow and obey. So the question that I have is that are women marrying men that they don't want to follow and obey? All right, because Kemi, let's look at what Kemi just said. Kemi said with the obey part is already wrong right now. So, like, obedience, let's left this down on the side somewhere, right? Okay, follow. Okay, obey. I don't want to get too much into semantics because it's not about semantics, right? Well, so let's get into the context a little bit more. Okay. Kemi said women to take the majority of responsibility again in 2023. Well, he said 90% is in your hands so far. Okay. Ladies, he's saying it's in your hands so far. Okay. Okay. The unhappiest marriages occur. Okay. This is the flip side of it. Hopefully this will answer my question. He said the unhappiest marriages occur when women choose to marry men they do not want to follow and obey. And essentially it's 90% if I link it together with the beginning of this conversation, right? Well, you know, the end of the conversation, we didn't get to 90% yet. I'm reading his words verbatim, right? So it says the unhappiest marriages occur when women choose to marry men they do not want to follow and obey. So again, let me flip that question around again. Are women marrying men they don't want to follow and obey? And if they are, I think some women are. Would you agree with me that some women do, right? But if they are they the majority? Are they 90%? Because we're trying to solve 90% of the problems in modern marriage. We know that the divorce courts are flooded with filings. That's where we are, right? Chinya says, obey to me is that the man dishes out commands and you obey, right? Agreed. But within marriage context, maybe not necessarily. Maybe it's not that harsh, right? Let's just give him benefit of doubt so far, right? Maybe, but maybe it means exactly that too, right? 90% is majority now. You know, that's precisely what I'm trying to say. Okay, let's see. It says there is no equality in marriage. Okay, there is no equality in marriage. Now, let me tell you something. I do say that here quite a bit, and I don't think everyone is happy about that. But if you listen to me long enough, it will make sense to you that what you're looking for in a marriage is not equality. Okay. If anything, you're looking to complement each other. Okay. I will even accept compatibility over equality. Okay. Equality is a journey to nowhere, essentially. Because no matter how much you try, you're always going to be at the surface level already different. But also, we live within a social construct. You are raised a certain way. Your man or your wife, everybody's raised differently, right? So we need some kind of structure. Yes, dare I say, some type of hierarchy, some type of order, right? It doesn't mean you're practicing this at every layer. It just makes somebody responsible for the family. Okay? All right, let's keep going. The husband should always be the head. To whom much is given, much is expected. More, right? Just in life, just life in general, right? If you're gonna be the leader, this is why I hold men accountable all the time. Say, hey, you want to be a leader? Not only does it come with the credit, right? If you do win as a family man, if you do win as the man of the household, it comes with that, but it also comes with if something falls apart. But if you go back to the beginning of this write-up, Mr. Omokri is reversing that. In a weird way, but we'll get to it, okay? There is no equality in marriage. Marriage is not set up that way. At least we know that, okay? Anyway, the husband should always be the head. When a man says to a woman, will you be my wife? He's actually applying for a job. This part confuses me quite a bit. It's the analogies for me. The analogies are all over the place. A lot of time when when they over explain, over shalaye, the analogy just ends up in poto everywhere, sha. Anyway, let me see your comments. This man don't want to put in any work talking about obedience. The woman be wooed me. Voila. Oh God, where is he getting the statistics from? Bikono, the 90% part, right? Hey, I guess I'm sure he will be like, I didn't mean it like that. I'm just saying it's okay. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt so far, right? But I already know that the idea of putting the responsibility of the modern marriage on women, it's always, I don't care how you shape it, I don't care how you say it, I don't care what backwards analogy you use, it's always lame. It's always lame behavior. It's giving away your problem to other people. It's a failure strategy. Will it work? Why? Because of the same reason why I said there is no equality in marriage. If there's going to be some kind of leader who is responsible for the family, you can't afford to have that mindset. It'll fail all the time. So women have no responsibility? I didn't say that yet. I'll let you know if that's what I think and when I'm ready to say it. But I didn't say that. Okay? Every man has the power to make his woman do what he wants without force. Life with Natu. Life with Natu. This is too early. Too early. Jesus Christ. Bible don't give una code, but ego don't blind men. It's too early. Kemi say don't tire or stay. All right, well, they're listening, so let's keep talking about it. I don't want to follow any one period. I want a partnership. D-Love. If you want, I'm not sure what your status is. If you want marriage, we will all have to follow, even the man. Because even if you're using the scriptures, the man has to be following something. Right? He has to be following some kind of vision. He has to be following, if it was Christians, he has to be following Christ, right? He has to follow certain principles, because if he doesn't, he will collect, right? We all have to follow, right? All of us, like every single one. Let's start with that first. Okay? See, I keep telling us, human beings will be your mate. When there's no order, it's chaotic. That's not what you want. Okay? That's not what you want. So that doesn't have to, two things can be true at the same time. By default, you are in a partnership in a marriage, by default. But to use partnership to remove leadership, to use partnership to remove the idea that you have to follow some type of order, structure, right? It won't work. And I think that's part of the issues. The only thing I'm disagreeing, not the only thing, but one of the things I'm disagreeing with him is that the woman get to choose. No, women don't choose that. Women naturally follow. A typical woman naturally follows. So, if she's not following, something is faulty somewhere. Maybe he has no order in his life. Maybe there's no vision to follow, right? There's some kind of disorderliness in his own life. Something's out of order, right? It could also be his choice, but usually not that. Because again, there's no. I don't really subscribe to the idea of. I don't subscribe to the idea of 190s. They call it in the red pill community. The myth of the soulmate. I don't subscribe to that. I believe that if somebody doesn't belong there, they can be removed and they can be replaced. It's an active marketplace, both on the side of the man and the woman. All right. So partnership is a default. There's the other part that we have to put extra effort in. That's the part where we struggle. You're in partnership, regardless. But I noticed that we're using to replace orderliness. Someone has to be responsible. One person has to be responsible in any form of organization in life, any form of institution, anything that's worthwhile, that especially when you're talking about you want it to last a lifetime. Someone has to be held responsible if we can't find something. If we can't find a fault, a blame, which I always push against anyway, somebody has to be held accountable, responsible. This person cannot be a person, so it's always been my fault. This person cannot move like that. That person has to be willing to say, it's not about being my fault. I'm taking responsibility for the orderliness that we're looking for the success we're looking for in this union. Right? Anyway, it's deep. We'll get to it. Let's keep going. Okay, very important. Very important. And yes, nothing should remove partnership. There are two parallels. Okay. Let's see. He's actually applying for a job. This part confused me, as I was saying. When a man says, "Will you be my wife?" he's applying for a job. This is where we fail. A job has paycheck on Friday. Romantic relationships, especially in these modern times, it's not about paycheck on Friday. People's feelings and emotions are involved. And even when they say duty and responsibility, that's controlled by emotions. It's just the words that's coming out of their mouth. In reality, it's emotions playing a part behind the scenes. The job to be her boss, pay her bills. Clearly, this man is living in 1959. To be her boss, pay her bills, and to protect and honor her. Protect and honor her is still required in 2023, in spite of the fact that you may not have to pay her bills. She may not require you to pay her bills. In fact, she can probably pay for your bills and your whole family and your generations. So what, you become useless if you can't pay bills? If you can't be, quote unquote, her boss? Also, I'm more concerned about the language. Like, for example, obey. If you notice, I'm like, It depends on how it plays out. Because sometimes when you use that word obey, not only does it trigger negative signals in modern women. Is that a bad thing? I don't think it's necessarily a bad or good thing. It's just what it is. Those are the cards you're dealt, and you have to learn how to manage that. Because what are you going to do? Go back and find a traditional woman from 1959? She's old. She's 99 years old. She's dead. Languages do change. So social studies do change. So what's the word I'm looking for? Socialization, right? It's not your mate. These things evolve. Oh, okay. Or devolve, whatever you want to call it. Right? What you want is what you want. In order to get what you want, you're going to have to adjust with the conditions of the society, the standards of society. I didn't say change who you are. You have to adjust. You have to learn the rules and play by the rules. So if an average person is triggered by the word obey, you're just going to have to find another word. That's just terrible. That's called pandering. I know. But it's still what you're going to have to do, because you're still going to create terrible results if you don't understand this deeper beyond the words, because a lot of people are getting stuck on words. The idea is that you have to pay a little bit more attention to the time that you live in. It's 2023 and beyond. What do you want me to tell you? Jesus Christ. Anyway, let's keep going. The job to be her boss, pay her bills, and to protect and honor her. Protect and honor her. What do you mean by protection? Do you mean physically that the Olosha, a Hamway robber, is going to come into the house and you have to protect? There's a extremely high chances that would never happen. Okay. Extreme high chances that nobody is coming to invade your village. So if you're not talking about protecting her emotionally, you're capping big time. You need to stop the cap. Okay? There's more to this than just protecting. Honor her. Yes, I agree with that. But protect, if you mean protecting in case somebody breaks into the house, there's an extremely high chance there's no need for that. Is it possible there's a need for that? Yes. But there's a good chance if that happens, you self could call 911.
Stop the cap.
Right? So that's what Pastor Reno Mokri is talking about. But let me get through this. Let me get through this. If you're not ready for the job, then do not apply for it. I guess, is that a message to men? I'm not sure. And if you do not want a boss, obey. A boss, obey. I don't know what kind of marriages these people are cooking, but I don't know. Those languages are just, they're not real in my personal life. And they're not real in most people that I know that are in successful marriages, including my parents that have been married now for 43 years. Obey. Obey. These are not, this, like, forget the words. This is not the reality. Right? It's not the reality. And I've seen where obey, words like this, a boss, the reality of it plays a part. As in, like, I can see visibly, they don't last. So I don't know what he's talking about. But hey, let's keep going. He said, if you do not want a boss, then do not accept his proposal. Forget wokeness. I guess I'm considered woke when I pay attention to the fact that, hey, in our world, in the human experience, the only thing that's constant is change. I guess I'm the woke one. Well, you can stay slumber though. But that's not going to work. You want to stay asleep? That's not going to work. Not in a marriage, not in modern marriages. So maybe after all, maybe he's right. Maybe in a weird, twisted way, that if you try to bring this 1949 ideologies into today's age, even in business, could it work? Because people have options and choices. This simple rule will solve 90% of the problems in modern marriage. Have a simple rule. Even the language rule, self gonna collect. Oh, collect woto. Have a rule. Rule call. Obedient in me. Anyway, that's what Omokri had to say. I want to know what your thoughts are about this. Happiness. This is his way. This is his secret behind the happiest marriages. All right. So I am successfully married for the past 15 years. And and I'm also a product of a successful marriage for the past 43 years. I can hands down tell you right now, some people will call it anecdotal experience. Well, I've also seen marriages where, listen, I handled tons of cases. So I'm not even here to do shalaye to anybody. I'm just here to talk to people that want to listen. That's it. That's all I'm willing to do. But let's see. Gorek says they only follow for the benefit of it. The obedient is beneficial as well. All right. So that's another way to look at it. This is the issues with words, right? It depends on who is looking at it. It depends on how you're looking at it, right? And that's why I will give you more of a guide here in a second. Mo Fresh, shout out to Mo Fresh. I don't know. Yvette, welcome. Yvette says hello. Gomen, hello Gomen. Gomen says I'm here struggling not to comment, but the Omokri guy write up got me cringing uncomfortably. What does he mean by obey? Choose. What happened to cleave and become one flesh? That's a good question. I guess multiple things can be true at the same time. I'm just trying to figure out how obey. Not the obey and follow itself. Because I think obey and follow is a reality. Because most women are doing that without needing to spell it out. Because they're looking up to their man. Most women marry up. Someone they can look up to. That's not necessarily meaning like every day you're just like, am I obeying? Am I following? Am I obeying? Am I following? The reality is what D-Love said earlier. It's usually partnership. Now, my wife checks in with me for a lot of things, and she does, gravitates towards me having a final say on things. But the word is gravitates towards that because she values what I have to say. She first of all values what I have to say first, right? But a lot of the aspects of our lives is partnership. And a lot of it is repetitive in nature, that it's not like you're going to be asking permission every second. Okay? Like, let me make sure. Like, that's not how it plays out. So how can I be 90% of the reason why modern marriages are failing? That's the part I'm trying to figure out. Maybe some of you will help me here. Leave to cleave, become one flesh, participating in the supportive and complementary role. These are the reality of successful marriages. Complementing, supportive, yes, those are the words right there. Those are the secret behind the happiest marriages. And not only, it's very important to watch your words. People like Omokri watch their words and watch the kind of words you listen to, because the words are powerful enough to drive your mindset and how you show up in a marriage. So, like for example, if for an average person the word obey is going to trigger them, they'll be looking to protect themselves as opposed to looking to feel free to enjoy and enjoy supporting each other in a true life partnership, right? Those are two different mindsets. I must obey rule. Okay, I'm making a face. Let me not make a face. Let me make the most calmest face. I must obey and follow the rules, right? In the most feminine and the most feministic way. Even that one collect goes. even that one.
Friend from Blue Bulaba.
These people, I don't know what world they live in. It's not the reality. So cool, man. Shout out for that comment. Thank you. Perhaps the word he was implying was submission. Me here trying to play devil's advocate. I know, Kemi, because you already showed me who you are earlier. You pushed against obey. Now suddenly you're like submission. Oh Lord. Submission, even submission gone at this point. These people have bastardized it. That is just Submission is such a sweet thing that it's not supposed to be. It's now a curse word. Thanks to people like Omokri, because they refuse to engage the reality of what makes up successful long-term relationships. They will rather spell out, what did he say? Rules. It's a romantic relationship. Even you yourself, you don't want to hear rules. You just want to, when you're coming home, you're looking to come to the sanctity of peacefulness. Why would you want to use these certain types of words that trigger negativity in an average person? Not everyone. Some people are listening to me right now, even ladies. I'll be like, oh, Lati, you are too woke. No, I'm telling you, I'm not talking about you. Thank God for you that you're woke enough to realize that submission is not a negative thing. But do you realize that an average person, when they see that word right now, they're triggered? That's not a good thing. It's not about the word being a good thing. It's about what effect does it create in people. Am I going to stop using submission? No, I won't. Nah. Submission is not, it's a good thing. I'm just going a little bit deeper right now and saying, hey, like what else is going on? What about the fruits of the Spirit and all these things that, is it Corinthians spelled out about love, kindness? Those things, they seem like they will never be curse words. How about use those words instead? What is love? Love is patient, kind. These kind of things, right? These things will never be curse words. Oh, well, some people patient to them means they are simping, but those are lame people, but it's okay. Right? What are we going to do, right? Well, the only thing I'm going to do is come back to basics. We're going to calm down, like I always say. The books, they're cute. The big terminologies, at this point, they are your enemies. Find somebody that you guys can support each other. Life hack for a lifetime. Stay away from crazy ass rules. Like find someone you can obey, and that's BS. Now, we did a video, was it last year? My wife and I did a video, and Pastor Mrs. Mildred, Pastor Kingsley Okonkwo, right? The relationship gurus, the Christian gurus. She made something similar point like this, and we pushed against it. In hindsight, maybe we could have been a little nicer. We were reacting to the video. Come and see her gang. And we're Ruku. They came for us on that video. They came for us. They're like, oh, that's not what she's trying to say. Like, women naturally follow. Okay? The typical woman naturally follows. No, she will not follow a person that lacks vision, a person that lacks emotional intelligence. No, she can't follow a person that's terrible with social skills. Yes, she will marry you if she doesn't know who you really are in the beginning. Like most people will not know fully who they are until they're inside the marriage. Yes, she will marry you. Does that mean she married somebody she knew she couldn't follow and obey? No. People evolve and change. In the middle of that, they're having experience. That's one of the problems with the statement. And that was one of the things that made us push back against Auntie Kingsley, right? That was one of the things. Are there women doing that? Yes, they are the minority. That's not majority. That's not 90% of the problems with modern marriage. It's not. It's just not. It's not because they're choosing women they can't follow and obey. That's not why. They're choosing people that they felt at that time they can follow and obey. I'm talking about majority of these people. I'm not talking about Oloshos. I'm not talking about IG Oloshos. No. That's not 90% of modern marriages. I'm not talking about the girl who saw a flashy wedding and wanted to have her own wedding too. No, that's not all. That's not 90% of the 200 million people in Nigeria. That's terrible estimation. The majority of people ending up in divorce court are normal people like you and I that don't understand, that continue to discount emotions and how powerful they are in being a driving force in our lives. And when you have a situation where men are saying, fuck that emotion shit, the fact says they are divorcing 80% of the time and they can't assess that information beyond just the numbers, then those are big problems. The problem is that the blind is leading the blind. 90%. No. Are there Olosios who just want to say yes because it looks like they will buy a Range Rover? Yes. That's not majority of people though. What kind of estimation is that? Majority of people can't even make money. They can't even be in the circle of people that can buy such cars. That's just your Instagram feed. That's all that is. It's not the reality of most people. Mr. Reno Omokri. The point I was making is that people can marry somebody they felt at that point in time authentically they can obey and follow. In fact, particularly they were obeying and following that person. When they get into the marriage 3 years later, they find out that this guy is not growing at the same pace. We're not evolving. It's not. They find out so many other things about not just the guy, but even themselves. So it's unrealistic expectations to expect that a woman can choose who she want to follow and obey for the life of the relationship. It doesn't make sense. That's not what's creating 90% of marriage failures. It's just not. It's not making sense. Gomez says, I'm thinking here, and I may be wrong because I'm not him, that his obey means control. Nah, so the truth is that, I don't know, it's probably, if I had a conversation with him, he probably would try to reshape it to not mean that. But those words are powerful. They probably will reflect in people's behavior. Obey, rules, boss. It will show in the behavior. Okay? I am of the opinion that the man is the head of the household. It's not necessarily something you have to use. It's just like a woman. When a woman says, I'm a boss chick, I'm like, but what do you mean by boss chick? Oh, okay. Clap for yourself. Right? I'm not triggered by that, right? A lot of men right now are triggered by that. They think that's what modern men is, and they are completely annoyed, and they think that's what's destroying modern marriages, right? Something to pay attention to, right? So I think if somebody is using the word obey, they will be controlling. They won't necessarily realize they're being controlling. They're just really living in principles that simply don't even work. Even in the corporate setting, doesn't work anymore. You have to make it all-inclusive decision where everybody has an input. That's the way most people are producing the most and moving the fastest in the progressive way in the world that we live in, even in the professional world, not just in marriages, right? But granted, marriage, family is supposed to be different, but not to that extent. Calm down. Calm down. This is a romantic relationship at the end of the day, and they have the power to pull the plug on that marriage, right? Is that a threat? Yes. What do you want me to tell you? Yes, that's a threat. If you don't understand how the human mind and emotions work, you will fail at marriage right now. It's as simple as that. People have options. Maybe that's the secret behind the happiest marriages. The gra is not there like that. People are friends. Okay? People are literally that close niche. They watch after each other. Their languages shows it. And people are happy in true free will to be there. Not by forcing them to be there because of some protection provision that doesn't exist. Rules, duty, and responsibility. You're living in a la-la world. That's fantasy. It doesn't exist anymore. It just doesn't. That was his advice. His social media account should be temporarily for that nonsense he contributed. He should just stick to politics. Even politics, some of the stuff I hear him say, I'm like, this guy is biased. Shit, temporarily suspended. I know, right? Not everyone is a Christian and read the Bible. Hey, Modele, good to see you. Obey and follow. So, obey and follow. The happiest marriages, okay, I'll tell you like this. In reality, it's a situation where there is order. And everyone is aware that the man is the leader of the household. It's not stuff that has to be spelled out. It's not stuff that you have to force down people's throat. If you bring a woman that does not subscribe to that ideology into that marriage, the marriage will not work. See, Obey and follow is involved, right? But if you bring a woman that does not subscribe to that ideology into that marriage, it won't work. Why? It's not because she's not following obey and follow. It's because there's no unity. A house, this is the secret behind the happiest marriages. Write this down. A house divided against itself cannot stand. It doesn't matter what ideology we're talking about. A house divided against itself cannot stand. When I tell you God purpose self, GPS is our secret here, it's because my wife and I subscribe to it. If I'm the only one we came up with it together. If I'm the only one that subscribed to that, will it work? If she's the only one that subscribed to that, will it work? It can't work. It can't work. Now, did we come up with this in the beginning? No, we couldn't. We didn't have that comprehension. We weren't capable to come up with such a principle. Yes, we were Christians, we went to church, blah, 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 right? But it doesn't mean you're capable to understand life to the point where you're coming up with stuff like that, right? We can now sow that seed into other people, but they will still have to go through their own experience. Hopefully to help them mitigate the negative parts of the experience, right? But the truth is that experience is the best teacher still. Unity is the secret behind the happiest marriages. Not just stagnant, written down. No, it has to be dynamic. It evolves with time. People change. People evolve. And if you're going to pretend like this is not the reality, no, people should just follow somebody, marry somebody you follow. No, that's not reality. People are going to marry people that they will get to a point in their marriage and they will question compatibility. They will question this was a wrong choice. They will question all. It's going to happen to every marriage. Every single marriage is going to experience that. That crisis, yes, it's coming. And it's going to come in different forms. You can't look at mine and say, this is how it's going to come. No, the only thing you can do is prepare and say, hey, when crises come, I just got to make sure I'm on the same page with my spouse. I gotta actively find ways to get on the same page with my spouse. And hopefully that process is being led by the man. Because if she's leading that process all the time, it's going to be harder for her because of the social construct to respect you. And you're going to crave respect. All right, it's going to be like his food. You're going to be looking for it everywhere. You're going to resent and hate yourself if you're with a woman that can't respect you. Guess who you get to blame for that? You don't get to say you shouldn't have married me because you knew that you couldn't follow and obey me. You shouldn't have married me. That's lame talk. It's no wonder why you're collecting woto. It's like no wonder. Because you have a problem in your hands and you're giving it away. What's the responsibility of the woman here? The same thing. The same thing. Always looking, that you're actively looking to get on the same page with your partner. That means you're looking to listen, to understand their perspective, how they see things. Doesn't mean you have to agree. But you might find out that that's not relevant if you just calm down and try to listen to where they're coming from. It's best, because of the way we're socialized, that the man is leading in this respect. It's okay for a woman to lead. I'm just saying, to be an every time thing is not sustainable for most people. It's not. Because she will lose the most important ingredient for there to be order in that space. And you can't blame her for that. That's respect. You can't blame her for that. That's the secret. Unity. I know it sounds so simple, right? Yeah, but because it's a moving target. Unity today is not necessarily unity tomorrow, right? People have to change their mind. If she changes her mind, are you saying, yeah, I was told that women, they never know what they want? Is that what you do? If that's what you do, you go collect. Go collect. But that's the moment to say, what do you mean? What changed? Okay, so you don't want us to do it that way as you did, but babe, this is what I want us to do. This is why I want us to do it that way. You're leading, but you can't lead if you don't understand who you're trying to lead. That's why you have to be patient. That's why patience is always part of this process. Patience, process. You're confused? Go on your knees and pray. Even all these pastors and their wives, they yarn nonsense, all in the name of motivating unions. Wahala. Being the head of the household means you are the leader. A leader is a good listener and approachable. Yes. A leader doesn't mean you're disagreeable. That's one of the lamest things I've heard on the internet. It means you're disagreeable. No, you're lame. You need to go back to primary school, elementary. Jesus Christ. Anyway, a good leader. I got you, Gome. Thank you, Gome. Gome is always with me here. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Eunice, good to see you, Eunice. Eunice says, maybe it's my grammar and English, but I lean more into mutual respect as the man remains the head of the household. That's another topic for another day. Okay. That's another topic for another day. I think you're talking about basic human to human respect, basic man to man, wife to husband respect. That's not the same respect I was talking about. I covered that here before, but maybe we'll get to it another time. Okay. This one that this man is craving is not your mate. You know, he doesn't need experience to crave it. It's part of the way we are socialized. It's just what it is. Okay. But I agree with you. Everybody wants respect, but it's not the same type. Kind of like you have love languages, right? And yes, it's a different thing entirely. It's weird, I know, right? You know when they say man needs their ego stroke, I know it's just weird stuff, you know. But let's just leave that alone for now. That's the secret. Hopefully everybody took notes. That's the secret. The secret is not whatever that brother is talking about. That's not the secret. The secret is unity, and it's a moving target. It's day-to-day activity as you move in life, every day, single day. You're open, you're always listening. If you've never done that before, it's hard. Yes, easier said than done. But with time, it gets easier. Okay? With time, it gets easier. Okay? It gets super easier. Not only does it get easier, you're rewarded for it. That respect that you're asking, you need to be respectful and submit to me. And femininity is happening. It's the reality. It's not stuff you have to yell at the top of your lungs to get. Right? It's there. So that's another reason why it becomes easier, because, you know, if the reciprocation is there, then, you know, but if you try this for 2 days and you don't see the reciprocation and you quit, that's part of your problems, because there's a good chance you've created some damages. You're going to have to wait for the ship to course correct. All right. A leader also learn from their followers. Yeah, that's the active listening part. You don't know what you're leading if you're not learning from your followers. People change. What do you want me to tell you? They change. All right, I'll be right back. There's some things that we want to cover here because I want to make sure we stay on time today. I liked what we did yesterday. We were only 4 minutes beyond time yesterday. Today I want to do that again. Okay. Shout out to all 23 people listening. All right. We're low on likes. Let's hit that like button. Hit that like button. Thank you. Thank you. Hit that like button right now. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So I was hoping that some of you will be familiar with the 8 anti-seducers. Anybody familiar with the 8 anti-seducers? Anybody in the chat? Let me know if you're familiar with that. Have you heard of it before? Anti-seducers. You know, over here we talk about relationships, but we don't. The accountability stuff is basic bare minimum for any human beings. Okay. You should, if you're an adult, you should understand. You should already understand what we call accountability. Or just learn how to hold yourself accountable, right? Responsibility as an adult, right? Responsible for yourself. So I don't spend a lot of time talk. That's lame behavior, personally, in my opinion. Okay, Overstressing accountability when we're talking about romantic relationships is lame. It's just lame. Okay, this is adults. You're dealing with adults. They know what accountability is. Okay, and if they're not being accountable, it's because they don't want to be. They just don't want to be. They don't like you like that. They are literally taking you for granted. They are mimicking the level of self-respect you have for yourself and self-love you have for yourself. It is what it is. So it's always my fault. Both women and men are saying that. Do you realize, gentlemen, do you realize both men and women actually say that? So it has to be always women's fault. Men will say it always has to be men's fault. At that point, two to get two, it has no meaning. That conversation has no meaning. We're repeating ourselves in circles and we're confused, right? So we got to take it further beyond that, particularly because this is a romantic relation. So we talk about seduction here, right? Seduction is not always about kerewa. It's not always about kerewa. It makes kerewa easier if you understand it, right? But not just that, it makes everything else you want easier. Anything you want from another person that you're in some type of relationship with, it makes it super easier. Okay. And there's we talk about, let me go back to here, right? We talk about power seduction. Seduction is basically a way to replace controlling behavior with influence, right? Instead of trying to control the other person, I want it now because you're supposed to hold yourself accountable. Right? Instead of doing that or leading with that, you're using influence. You're building your influence. You understand it's a function of time, a process, patience, right? And you understand that it's actually much more rewarding because when that other person is doing for you, it comes from inside. It comes from their own personal will. All right? Hold on one. Does that make sense? And it's better. It feels better when the person. How many times, ladies, have you said, why should I have to tell you that? Right? Why? Because you prefer that the person is doing it from their heart. If you have to tell them, it kind of messes things up for you, right? Right? It does, right? It messes, like, it's not sweet when you have to tell them what to do. But when they do it and you're able to say things like, what's the phrase that's normally said? Like, it's the thoughts that count, right? The fact that that person actually thought of you, you not having to tell them what to do, it makes it 10,000 times much more sweeter. Whatever it is that they did for you. Am I right or right? Am I right or right? No. I guess you're saying no to what I said earlier, right? You're right. So we like to talk about seduction, as opposed to, so you can't control your woman. Are you trying to tell me you don't know how to control your woman? Tell me something. Tell me the story. Right? So a man shouldn't be able to control them. Do you want to tell me how you're not able to control your woman? Right? Remember that guy that said, I told her to stop it. Shout out to Donovan Sharp, right? I told her to stop it. I told her the second time to stop it. And by the time the third or fourth, fifth time, I called her all types of names. Wahala. Jesus. It's an issue. Okay. So we talk about seduction. And I think I always talk about frame of reference, right? Frame of reference to allow you to learn seduction. We'll take it layer by layer. Yoruba people talk layer by layer, right? So today I want to share with you the 8. Okay, you were saying you don't know what the anti-seducers are. The anti-seducers are basically the character traits, the person you don't want to be. There's a good chance you're going to be 1 or 2 or 3 of these people, but you will be aware. Okay? You'll be aware, and when you're aware, it's half of the battle won. Does that make sense? Hit that like button. Hit that like button right now. Thank you. Awareness is half the battle won. Okay. All right. Chia says, are you dealing with an animal or a human being? Control a woman. Control a woman. Like, No, you should be able to control your woman. and it's always like, in my head, it's like they close one eyes and they do. It's like, are you not able to? Are you trying to tell me that you can't control your woman? So let's talk about the 8 anti-seducers. This is in full details inside of the book, The Art of Seduction. Seduction is an art, it's not an exact science, okay? It's not stuff that you can say, this, did that, if you did that. That's not how it works, okay? It's an art. For everyone, when it comes to application, it's different. There's some principles that we'll continue to cover, okay? But you need to practice this. Practice makes perfect, and it gets better with time. It's not an exact science. If you think of this as an exact science, you will come off as lame. Human beings have incredible radar for bullshit. They can tell if you're faking stuff. So very, very, very important to understand that this is an art. This is not an exact science. Very, very important. Number 1 is the brute. They call it the brute. Basically, a person that tried to use force, right? Control, right? This is anti-seductive behavior. What does the brute looks like in real life? You're just supposed to. That's just the rules. Obey. Obey and follow. Right? Brute is anti-seductive behavior. It's no wonder why people are chopping breakfast left and right. The more rules they set up, the worse it gets. Boundaries. Okay? Boundaries are good. Okay? But like everything seduction, it's a double-edged sword. That may just be you saying, you low tolerance. Okay? Are you aware that boundaries is double-edged sword too, right? So that's why some people say healthy boundaries, right? Who are you drawing boundaries for? For yourself? I think boundaries are much more effective when it's for yourself. So you can know what to accept and what not to accept. If you try to put boundaries on other people, there's a good chance that you're number 1. Okay? The more you put boundaries on other people, the more they figure out how to scale the fence. Can work. Have you noticed that they tend not to work? Right? The brute is an anti-seducer. Some of you are that just naturally, but if you're aware of it, then you can just be aware. Okay, the awareness is half the battle won. It's not an indictment, it's just something to pay attention to. Number 2, the suffocator, needy behavior. Okay, to you just love your partner, you just want to spend a lot of time around them, right? You're on the phone, you're like, my break. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, it's just about being aware that, are you paying attention to everything else that's going on beyond, Now, if it's expected, if this is what you guys agree to, remember that seduction in its best form is unity, right? If you're on the same page, you don't have to worry about this. You don't have to play, quote unquote, play games with the person that you're on the same page. Does that make sense? There's no need to. I don't worry about this when I'm dealing with my wife. I don't. But I'm aware that these things exist. Okay? But these are the anti-seducers right here. She is, I'm sharpening my heart of seduction skills. Yes, that's awesome. Yeah. Number 3, moralizer. We talked about this in, funny enough, honestly, I've read this book quite a while back. Okay, it's a while back. So I didn't remember. I just pulled this back up today. Okay. But I didn't realize it was part of the list when I put this number 10 here. I said relationship poisons, right? Right and wrong obsessed. A person that they can't think outside of what is right and what is wrong, how the person is wrong. They're always looking for whose fault is it? Whose fault is it? That's the first thing that comes to their mind. They want to know, when they're having conversation about romantic relationships, they're like, We need a more balanced conversation. It needs to be balanced, right? So what they mean by that is they want me to tell this one how they are at fault and then go to the second person and say how they are at fault. Listen, we've been doing that for how long? How is that helping the divorce rate? Good work. So number 3, moralizer. That's an anti-seducer. Listen, it's not, like I said, I need to keep saying this. It's not an indictment. It's part of people's personality a lot of times. Okay. But if you are not aware that, it's true. I'll be looking for those people. I'll be looking for those. Who is wrong? Who is at fault here, right? As opposed to wait. Whatever just happened is wrong. It doesn't feel right. How did I contribute to this? Or how can I contribute to the transformation I'm looking for? All right. We're talking about romantic relationships. I'm not talking about your boss. If it's your boss, to boss when, fire your boss. If you can afford it, okay? But number 4, the tight word, cheap. Cheap people, them they collect. Cheap people, they collect. Hey.
There is God.
Oh God. Cheap people, like, okay, so cheap, obviously, all of this stuff, if you notice, they're all subjective. All of them. Subjective. Depends on who is observing it, depends on who is feeling it. And that's why it's an art. That's why active listening cannot be replaced with any of this. Because you have to know what you're dealing with, right? So you have to pay attention to the person you're dealing with, right? So to you, you might just be like, no, I like to save the penny. If you save the penny, my big rich uncle was like, if you save the penny, the millions will take care of itself. It's true, right? But because it's rich, everybody in the village think is what do you call it, miser, frugal, like in a bad way, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about people that want to drain you. Because not only do they want to drain you financially, sometimes they want to drain you emotionally. No. You should not. Don't be that person that said, because I don't want to be a tight wad, let me just give woto. Don't do that. That's not what I'm talking about. But cheap is, just know that cheap is an anti-seducer. If the other person is feeling that way, if that's a person that you care for in a romantic way, if you come off as not generous, that's an anti-seducer. Okay? And you can apply this in, it just means you're not generous. Sometimes you're not generous with patience. Like you want to call out the wrong right now. Like, now you were wrong with that. Right? No, but when you did that and then you end up in an argument. Why do you end up in an argument? Because you have an obsession with, you're probably number 3 as well, moralizer. Yeah. Stingy, right? Yeah. So it's not about you defining stingy. Are you coming off as stingy to the other person? That's what matters. That's all that matters. It's not the dictionary meaning of stingy. It's not what it looks like in your family where you were raised. It's about, are you coming off as that to the person you're trying to seduce? That is an anti-seducer. Okay? Let me see. Wait, what that mean? So 17s out of 22. Hit that like button now. I beg now. Thank you, Lady Navarre. Shout out to you. Gomez says, many books out there need updates because the world keeps evolving and revolving. Yes, except this book. Except this particular book. And I don't think the Bible needs update. It just depends on who is reading it, right? But books in general, when people, like I tell people, when they read a book, don't read it one time. Read that book at least 3 times. I personally recommend that if you're reading my book, you read it 10 to 15 times. Because there's some, every single time there's something else you discover, right? So books by default, because they are text, there's only so much you can get, especially if you're reading it only once, right? Whole lot. Especially when the topic for the day is to address one set of people. Doesn't mean the other side does not have their own day of discussion. Exactly. Right? I always address the person that's complaining to me. And if you are, like, for example, Other platforms, they want to empathize with the person that's complaining. That's fine. But over here, I'm looking to help you with ways that you can take control. I'm helping you to identify your seductive powers. That's all I want to do. If you're looking for a place where they will call the other person in the story who did not hear their story evil, like just think about that for a second. Let me just call, like, since this is a man complaining to me, that women are terrible. Hobby. Right? No, I'm not gonna do that. All right. And if you're not open to a little criticism, but I could tell because you're probably not asking questions. You're probably just narrating it. If people are narrating story, I don't interject. I can let them narrate. It's their story. But if they turn it to a question, they're asking me for my opinion. I will not be having opinions about a person I haven't heard their story. Will make sense. Okay?
Not be juju be that.
Will make sense. Let's see. Doesn't mean the other side. Okay. For stingy people, Igbos call them akagum. Hand that is glued shut. Yeah, it's not attractive. Oh, that's the word I haven't used. These people, these anti-seducers, are not attractive. Right? Everything else being equal, for this one particular behavior, they're not attractive. Okay? Right? Because we talk about seduction, attraction, right? Example, how many times you don't change your phone to upgraded version? I sure say these gadgets don't chop your money tire. Frugal is different. Stingy is a whole different ball game. Yes, that's true. Frugal is management, almost like money management, right? Stingy is like, but again, it's not even that. You could be frugal. One person can look at you as frugal. The other person say, no, he's stingy. It's about who is the person you're trying to cook attraction with. Who is the person you're trying to seduce? That's the only thing that matters. I'm talking romantic relationships. Okay? Yes, even though if 9 out of these 10 people says it's frugal, it's not stingy. Emotions don't be your mates, okay? It's the person who you're trying to seduce. How you're coming off is what that matters. Does that mean you have to now start to give woto? No. It means you need to be aware. This awareness is all you need, okay? Because remember, there are 8 anti-seducers, right? There's a good chance you're naturally 3 or 4 of this list, between 2 and 4 of this list. In my opinion, just being aware is more than enough. Just being aware, okay? Right? That's more than enough. But if you're being aware and also you can make certain moves accordingly, obviously if you're aware, naturally you'll move accordingly. It doesn't mean you should now start to the pool or pour out of empty cup. If you pour out of empty cup, that's also an anti-seducer. I'm sure it will come up in a second. Hold on one second. Let me see. Yeah, 10 to 15 times. Yes. Suggested in the book. And yeah, trust me. All right. The book that I read that got me to where I am, that I'm talking like this, I literally follow that same principle. Right? Go back and say, no Bible, Allah. The Bible only needs meditative understanding as we grow spiritually. Yeah, we're saying the same thing. That's the whole point of reading 10 to 15 times. Right? Gum. Gum is what we call glue in Nigeria. Yes, now. Gum. Is the same gum as in gum, chewing gum. Right? Anyway, let's continue. Number 5, Bumbler. The weird self-conscious one. Okay? You know, that person that's asking you, some of you are going to be triggered in a second. The one that you already know you like. The one that's, like, in fact, you don't taste time already. But he's asking you, can I kiss? And you're like, right? If you like him enough, you say yes. If you don't like him, if you're already on the fence, you'll be like, no, you can't kiss me. Right? If he kisses you without asking, there's a chance you'll be like, you'll kiss back. Because you already like him, right? If you don't like him at all, you're like, no, you might even go to the police and say, this guy sexually assaulted you. Right? Dangerous, right? Dangerous? All right. I know. I know, right? But yeah, let's push the envelope. Okay. The person that's always asking you, I hope that's okay. Oh. So it doesn't have to be about kerewa or anything romantic. The person that's always on, like, oh, is that okay if I do? They're asking you every time, is that okay? They're self-conscious, but it's coming off as weird. Like that weird, there's a weird energy that comes with that, right? Go back and say, wait, to kiss on first date, I'm lost here, Ola. No, it doesn't have to be first date, but it's the first kiss, right? And you've been waiting for it, like, because you like that person that like, in fact, it's against your rules, but you've been waiting for it. But he's now asking you, right? You know, but that's not you. If you like that person enough, you're like, that's polite, right? If you're kind of on the fence and you just have to be in this person's space all the time, and now you're kind of looking for an exit plan already, and he now is asking you, like, is it okay? He actually said, is it okay to kiss you? Right? That weird self-conscious thing that he's doing right there, even though by way of principles on paper it aligns with your rules, that weird vibe you got from that, yes, that's anti-seducer. Okay, but let's take it away from that. Let's take it away from about romancing somebody, right? Just the idea that the person lacks confidence, they're overly self-conscious, they don't know where to make a move that to you seems obvious. That's the anti-seducer right there. Okay, sometimes people just like you to be spontaneous. It demonstrates confidence. Confidence is sexy as hell every single day of the week. I don't care how woke you got in this generation. Confidence is sexy, both from a man and a woman. Okay? And the point of saying this is because it might rub off against all your pragmatic talking points and ideologies of the new age. That's actually particular. It's not stuff you can bring down to exact science. Remember I said that, right? So being self-conscious can also interweave with the line self-awareness, right? But what's wrong with being self-aware? No, it's not about the self-awareness part. It's about timing, right? This has to do with timing. Learning how to time when to move in closer and when to back off. 3 steps forwards, 2 steps backwards. That's still forward by 1 step. Learning how to time, learning how to back off, learning how to measure, learning how to read a room, right? Without asking for permission to read a room. A person asking for permission all the time in certain respect, in certain spaces, will come off as weird. Weird vibes. Weird, right? Weird to who? To you, the person they're trying to seduce. It doesn't mean weird to the whole world. Shout out to Amoya's Corner. How now? How you did? Thank you. She said, "Oti sexied you in your confidence, right?" Right? It's every time like, is it okay to do? Is it okay to do? Is it okay to do? Like, no, like you have to be able to time it. And what if you time it and you were wrong? You have to be willing to take risk. That's part of the sexy thing I'm talking about. Take some risk. Cross the line sometimes. Yes, cross the line. Okay, gentlemen, be careful. Don't go and be tapping butts. That's not what I'm talking about. Again, these are the problems, okay? That's what we're talking about. It's about timing. It's about timing. The weird, particularly the weird self-conscious thing, it has nothing to do with self-awareness or self-aware. Self-aware doesn't mean you have to take actions. It doesn't mean that. It just means you're aware of the emotions running through your own body. And that's the prerequisite to be able to understand other people's emotions, right? Let's go to number 6. The windbag, the talkative. This one may be crossing that line where you want to call somebody a narcissist, right? But it's not narcissist. You can't diagnose people, but it could be a narcissistic trait. They can't see anything else that's going on outside of them. They're just talking, right? And to you, you're like, damn, let me walk away. Let me wander away to another room. But they keep talking, right? That person, right, is a windbag. That's an anti-seducer as well. It's a turnoff, right? It could be a man, it could be a woman. It's especially worse when this is a man. Okay? So I can't say anything. No, you can ask questions, brotherly. You can ask questions, open-ended questions too. Not how many body counts do you have? Do you bring something to me? I want that to be a yes or no. If it's not a yes or no, that's lame behavior, brotherly. That's anti-seducer right there. Okay. You already have an idea what answer you're looking for, and you're looking to do a follow-up narrative after that. You don't know, you're not aware you're doing this, right? It's not an indictment, but this is an anti-seducer. The windbag everywhere, right? Number 7, the reactor. I think this one should be obvious. You're triggered. Not just that you're triggered. Anyone can be triggered. You are actively looking for things to trigger you. When somebody is saying something to you, you're looking for things, something they said. What do I say about red flags here all the time? I think that people should learn red flags. I think so. I think you can overdo it. I think this generation has overdone it. All they see now is red everywhere. When somebody is, instead of you to go on a date, right, or to engage your woman, your wife, in the spirit of wanting to understand, you're engaging them because you want to hear something they said they're wrong, and you want to fire back instantly. The reactor. You're looking for excuses to be triggered. Listen, it's subconscious. Okay, it's not. No, I don't do that. No, it's not stuff you're supposed to admit to. Jesus, oh my days, you're not supposed to admit to that now.
Oh my days, no,
you're not supposed to admit to that. It's stuff that you can probably notice when you start to self-reflect, and you're like, Or maybe you've heard a few people told you that you're triggered. If you hear people say you're triggered from time to time, there's probably a good reason. Okay? That's not attractive. All right? But again, if this is who you are, again, just awareness. Okay? Not sometimes, all of these are part of people's personality a lot of times. Okay? And it's not genetic. It doesn't mean, oh, my mother did it, so I must be doing it. Relax. It could be, but relax. Focus on yourself, always, okay? Number 8, last but not least, the vulgarian. This person has no self-control. Oh, mora. That's how Yoruba people say it. Oh, mora. Right? Remember, this is almost contradicting. With the nature of these things, right? You look at 2 of them or 3 of them, it looks like they're contradicting each other. Right? But remember that you could have 2 or 3 of this. This is not indictment. This is just part of people's personality. There are certain spaces where this play out or this show out in your behavior. Right? Number 8, vulgarian, no self-control. It's not contradicting 5. Number 5 has to have that weird vibe in it. And remember, it's not the same because it depends on the individual that's being seduced, right? You're always being seduced. Oh, you didn't know that, right? Yeah, you're always being, okay, let's say it this way. You're always being influenced by your surrounding. Then there's somebody, if people can know better, starting today, somebody is actively trying to win you over to their side. They're selling you something, right? If they're coming off as they don't have no sense of timing, similar to number 5, the sense of timing part of it, right? That number 5 part, right, is the timing thing. It's not about, so I could never do that. No, it's timing. 3 step forward, 2 step backwards. Relax. The less you say, the higher the chances that you are the most powerful in that conversation. Now, it depends on the context. I would teach men, I'm letting you know, obviously, I will teach men to ask open-ended questions on dates, right? If she's more cerebral than a typical girl, she might be coming ready to ask open-ended question. Answer it. Finish it with a question, with your own open-ended question, right? Answer it. Give just enough. Say less than necessary. We've talked about this before, right? Ladies, you really don't have to do that because of the social construct we're in, but it's good to have self-control. It's okay to say, am I talking too much? Have a good time, have fun. If a guy is not letting you have a good time, have fun, that's a red flag. Okay, right? If it's talk, I don't have to tell you that. It depends on who you are anyway, right? You might be appreciative of a person who talks more. Maybe that's the kind of person you are. It varies from people to people. It's about knowing yourself, right? And knowing what something rubs you off the wrong way, right? But when you are aware, it's half the battle won. Okay? That's number 8. Right there. Chinya says there are some questions that you have to expound on a little bit that is not a yes question. Yeah, yes or no. You can ask yes or no question, by the way, but it's just depending on why. Right? That could be a part of a bigger, remember, it's all part of a bigger conversation. You should be there to be getting to know people, right? I'm just saying there's some people that tend to get stuck there because they're looking for a gotcha moment. Right? That's what they're looking for, and it's lame behavior if they tend to do that over and over. Okay, so if somebody said no, I'll let you explain, but is it yes or a no? It depends on their attitude, their vibe, the vibe about when they're doing that, right? But there's some people you could just tell that this is about to go left. This is just who they are. If everything else were equal, if you isolate that, it's an anti-seducer. Okay, because of why? Because of number 3, the moralizer, the police. It's just he or she is looking to police something. It's annoying behavior. Okay. Triggered and highly irritable. Yes. Yep. Dealers, yeah, Egbami, I'm a talker. Or I should not talk anymore. No, you should talk. You should talk. You should be yourself, right? But it's about timing, right? It's about timing. Just, again, self-control, right? If somebody's not enjoying you talking, you could tell, right? You could tell. If they're not being entertained, not entertainers in Alagbe, but being entertained as in like they're having a good time, right? They like, if a guy is liking the idea that you're talking, you keep doing you, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? You're having a good time. The most important aspect of all of this is having a good time, having fun. None of this stuff matters if people are not having a good time. None of it. You can cram all you want. None of it matters if people are not having a good time. Okay. She says like their shit don't stink. Gotcha. Gomez says it varies from individual to individual. I don't put a thermometer on people being themselves. Exactly. Yep. Just stuff to be aware of, right? So on any one of these 8, right, you're probably anywhere from a 1 to 10. Think of it this way. Okay? You're 1 to 10. You're at some level on any one of this, okay? Okay, because there's, even if you say, oh, I don't have the weird self-conscious, you can't say that, okay? There's some space where you lose yourself. Maybe because you're having such a good time, you're not paying attention to people around you like that, right? There's some aspect of life that you are like that, right? So on anyone from just like number 1, there's some things in life you don't tolerate, you don't have patience for that, like you don't have time for that, right? And yes, you could be dealing with your husband and your wife, a romantic partner, right? So think of it like this, right? On any one of these ones, you're on level 1 to 10, right? The one where you are a 7 is something you should pay attention to. It's probably killing attraction in your romantic relationships. Okay? The ones where you are a 2 or a 3, right? Just assess them. The ones where you are a 2 or 3, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Okay? That 7, why is it a 7? Why should you be worried about 7? Because when you are put in the middle of crisis, it pushes up to a 9. And then depending on how irritable you are to the person in question, the person observing or person you're trying to seduce, that might be a 10. Even just scale, lossy level, right? That's how you want to look at it. This is not a tool for you to look at as something exact science. No, it's just stuff to assess and self-reflect and say, some of this, the ones you're a 2 or 3 on here is probably your strength in terms of your, let's say, for example, on number 2, you like to spend time alone by yourself. You're not the person. You're the person that your partner will say they're suffering from affection, or they're suffering from quality time with you because you are good by yourself, right? So you are probably a 2 or 3 here. You're not a needy person, right? But on the other side of the scale, the person you're dealing with, they're complaining, right? So now you can put some effort into it. Depends on what you're using it for. It depends on what your personal goals are, right? It just depends. It's so many variations here. It depends from people to people, from situation to situation, from your personality to your personality, people's temperament, all that kind of stuff, right? It just all depends. Okay. How are they? How's everyone doing? Good? All these master classes, make sure you're sharing them. Make sure you're sharing them. Okay? Make sure you're sharing them. But anyway, I don't know if Life with Natu is still here. She shared something with me on Instagram. And I'm gonna use this to round up today because we'll dive deeper into this on Tuesday. On Tuesday, my wife will be hanging out with me here for Valentine's. We're gonna be here. Okay, it's called Behind Love and Attraction. It's a series that we've been doing forever, but we're going to do it right here on Man of Prestige live with you all on Tuesday. Okay, so I would love you all to be here. You're invited. Okay. You're invited for that. All right. All right. So I'll be right back. All right, so Life with Natsu, she sent this to me on Instagram some days back, and I was like, this is a good one. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna use this to round up today, okay? But again, we're gonna dive deeper into it. So this is something to look forward to. This is gonna be a hilarious conversation between myself and my wife on Tuesday. So don't miss that, okay? But let me just read what is in it for you. Basically, a man sends his wife a spreadsheet of all the time she denied him of Jalade Kirewa. Omo, blue balls no be your mate o. Konjina bastard. Jesus
is Lord.
All right, so I'm just gonna read this to you because I'm sure you can't see anyway, accounting, shout out to accounting, says this is really a data analyst. Data collection, but we will be analyzing this. Let's see. Let me read it to you. So apparently this happens sometimes. There's data on it on everything. 2014. All right, but it's still happening today. What do we know about sexless marriages? It's 15 to 20%. 1 out of every 5 marriages, or 1 out of 4 or 5, are experiencing Kirewa-less marriages. Okay, and I don't know exactly. I forgot how they measure that. But listen, if you're going straight 3 months and you're not doing it, that's just terrible. If you're going straight more than 2 weeks, you're not doing it, and there's no medical reasons. 2 weeks and not doing the jalopy, right? The Kirewa, that's a problem. Okay, but is it food? I don't know what you want me to say, but let's just get through this really quickly. D-Love say petty man. Wait till happen. The man is really keeping track, literally. Conjino of your mate. But let's get into it. Let me read it. So this is from June 3rd to July 16th. That's about 45 days ish. 43 days, something like that. 43 to 45 days. So on June 3rd, 2014, he asked for Kerewa. The answer was, I'm watching the show. Friends rerun, to be precise. Okay. On the 4th, the following day, so this is every day after. On the 4th, it's a no. Okay. As in, like, when people say people are weaponizing Kerewa against their partners, right? When people say they are weaponizing, people think it's no, I never do that, or they will deny it or stuff like that. Well, it's usually not an outright no. It usually comes as an excuse, right? Or some kind of awkward brush off, or completely he didn't ask for it because for the last few days he had been asking for it and it's not happening. This happens to women too, by the way. There are men. It's typically not the situation, but there are men who are punishing their wife with Kerewa. But the language punishing or weaponizing, I always have problem with it because it's almost indicating that person is punishing themselves as well. What about the part that they don't want to do Kerewa with you? This is about attraction at the end of the day. Okay? Are they weaponizing it? I guess you could say that, but again, I'm saying, are you open to also saying they're also weaponizing against themselves? Because we're assuming now that they also want to do Kerewa with you, that they want to have sex with you, right? So if they don't want to have it with you, is that weaponizing against themselves too, right? Because it's not. They're weaponizing against you. That means they don't want to do it. Which one is more important? The fact that they're weaponizing or the fact that they don't want to do it? Particularly the wanting part. Which one is more important? I can't say in God we trust. Everyone else bring data. Data, no. Wow, accounting has dealt us a big one. Oh, yeah, collection. Everybody they collect already. Anyway, let me go back to it. All right. So on the 6th, okay, so I noticed that there's some gaps here. On the 6th, non-verbal. I say no, but it's non-verbal. What is a non-verbal, right? Maybe he was trying to do something, baby, he didn't really say, but she just all she did is and he got the signal like, eh. Jesus Christ. On the night, skipped 3 days. Okay, so maybe it's not that petty. I thought it was every day after day. Can we say it's not that petty? It skipped some days, right? Those are days that he gave time. You know how some people advise and say, just give her time, give her some space. I do. It depends on the situation, right? Depends on the situation. You can't just give blanket advice to everybody. It depends on people, story, situation, right? But so he gave 3 days. On the night, outright no, I'm exhausted. On the 10th, Jalopy, he got some, right? But for a man that's keeping this kind of record, is there a chance that this is a jegba mapamije? Fine, just take it. Do you enjoy such Kerewa where somebody just take it? Do you enjoy it? For me, I don't. I don't enjoy that. I need you to be involved to return. On the 11th. On the 11th is literally the following day. I'm still a bit tender from yesterday. Wait. May God forgive you. If you've ever used this and you're not admitting to this right now in this chat right now.
That is God.
If you don't admit to this in this chat and you know you've used this, ladies, come on. Okay, all right, I'll give you a pass. You don't have to. It's public, okay? You don't have to. Okay, but you have to admit it to the mirror. Go in front of the mirror and say, that was me. All right. On the 12th, remember yesterday was, she said, I'm still a bit tender from yesterday. All right. She said, I'm still a bit tender from yesterday. Now, the following day, right, he probably like, yeah, yesterday she was, but she should be ready today, right? Probably not. He knew what it was. When people pull out spreadsheet and they start recording, they know what they know they've been having some kind of experience. It's probably more than 180 days into the past that this has been happening. This is just he's tired now, but he's like, I need evidence. The same reason why some people will pull out camera even though when they are faced with something that can literally delete them. Like, I'll need to pull out camera for evidence, right? This is just another evidence scenario. Okay? Ladies, is this seductive or anti-seductive? The fact that he's keeping this record. We need to go and find out where it belongs. Before I end this session, we need to go and find out where it belongs. This behavior right now. But is it seductive? Like, if we just show this paper now, by the end of 45 days, will you suddenly want to just do? Let's be honest. I'll be nice now. You will at least want to do. Right? Let me see. I'm not making fun of him. I'm making fun of this reality. This is what a lot of people are going through, right? So even though this shit is petty as hell, right? Even though I think it's worth applauding him so we can get this lesson. Okay, let's see. The next one says so I'm still a bit tender from yesterday. Next one says non-verbal. Okay, that means today, or maybe he was touching on the bed. He has the hands around the lap, and she just non-verbal. Okay. The next one on the 13th, 10 days into the experiment laboratory is on. I'm trying to watch the movie, and then 15 minutes later, she fell asleep. There you go.
Ó já mi lára jẹ.
Obìnrin.
Oh my days.
Oh my days. Irú ọmọ wo wá rèé nítorí Ọlọ́run.
Let's keep going. The next day on the 16th, I'm too drunk and I ate too much. Bloated. On the 18th, 2 days apart, I won't have time to get showered and ready for dinner. And he puts in parentheses, we were 20 minutes early. This guy is calculating. Calculate. Hey, do your homework. This guy is an anti-seducer. Which numbers does he fall in? Okay. I'll show you. I'll give you cheat sheet when we're done, so we can round up with that. All right. Number 19. I just came back from the gym. I feel gross. In parentheses, she didn't shower until the next morning. You have to admit, ladies, you have to admit that if a man is going through that, he will feel like this woman is outrightly being evil. You have to admit that, at least admit that. Okay, non-verbal. The next one is non-verbal. After she did shower until next morning, the next one is non-verbal. Okay. On the 21st, the excuse is I have to be up early. So nothing did happen. Okay. On the 22nd, remember the last time was on the 10th, which was probably a jegba map. Fine, just take it type of kerewa, right? But on the 27th, he got a yes. If you notice something about the space of note or excuse, we should call it, in front of the yes, he didn't describe it, right? Did it feel good? Did you like it? Did you appreciate the fact that you, like, what did that feel like? Whatever it is. Well, I feel like I have to ask for it all the time. Put some note or something. He didn't do any of that, right? But it's easier to put some notes around the nose. The days he collected nose. Water. All right. So on the 29th, you're too drunk. She's saying he's too drunk. On the 30th, she says, I feel gross. Now it's a new month. This is almost a month later. In 1 month, he got yes twice. Okay? With no notes, anything. in front of it. Let's just say he was able to not and get some off, get some of that energy off, right? Let's go to July 1st. I'm not feeling good. I ate too much. If you notice, some of these excuses are repetitive in nature. They seem about the same thing, right? The next day, 2 days later, on the 3rd, I'm sweaty and gross and I'm tired. On the 4th, non-verbal. Non-verbal. Maybe this is the day that she didn't say anything. She just had to sit on the phone for the rest of the night until it's time to say, oh, well, I have to work in the morning. Non-verbal. No talking. All right. On the 5th of July, I might be getting sick. I might be getting, not I'm sick. I might be getting sick. Right? Maybe she's feeling a little nausea, right? Could it be true? Yes. It could be true. Yes. There are days that real life is happening. Right? The baby could be sick. My mother just called me and she's, I have to go and help. Something. Life happens, right? This is one of those days. On the 6th, I still don't feel 100%. This sounds similar to I'm still a bit tender from yesterday. Okay. On the 10th, some days apart here, okay? Those days that is skipped here, it's just probably didn't ask. And it was clearly no Kerewa, okay? We can assume that, right? On the 10th, I need a shower. I feel gross. But it was a no. So you didn't get some after that. You said, I need a shower. I feel gross. I was like, yes, let's go take a shower together. Me too. Right? Maybe it's still a no. No, you can't come and shower with me. No? Anyway, on the 11th of July, I'm too tired. All right. On the 12th, finally, about how many days later? The last time he got a yes was on the 27th. So on the 12th is about 15 days later. He finally got a yes. On the 13th, nope. On the 14th, no verbal. On the 16th, I'm watching my show. I don't want to miss anything. Ha! Oh my show. Ha! Ha! Ladies and gentlemen, nobody is saying anything now, eh? Hi? Hi? No one is saying anything. Gomez say Kerewa is food, oh yes, oh yes, oh. Dilo say ha agbaya ni manye. Agbaya ni manye. Okay. Dilo say amen. God will forgive me and all the ladies here. Dilo said not seductive at all, but I agree. After seeing this spreadsheet, you will feel bad and do I'm tired, but just do it, Kerewa. Yeah, that's the worst. Ladies, if you can try your best, don't do that. I know sometimes routine calls just what you have to do so you can at least get something. I get that. Gomez says anti-seductive. Yeah. Accounting says the data suggests that I can't right now. I can't. The data suggests that he may have a stronger sexual drive compared to his wife, and that she may not be into him. Yeah. But when she said yes, why did he record the reason? Why didn't he record the reason? Or why did he, right? Didn't. That's what I was saying now. Give us something, even if it's a little edifying your wife for the day she say yes, but I guess resentment. Na bastard. Let's see. Kerewa is food for the soul, I beg. No be only men that is food for. I know. We know. But there's a lot going on in this. I think I will leave my assessment of this situation. We'll do a part 2 on Tuesday when my wife is here. We'll assess it, right? But I have a question for you all, ladies and gentlemen of Prestige, before we leave. Just this one question. Okay. Which one of these anti-seducers does this man fall under? Remember, I don't address the person that's not telling the story. I just don't. Could make sense. Okay. It doesn't make sense. We don't address the person that's not telling a story because it's useless. This is not, even if you go to a court of law, they will have to summon that person, hear the other side of the story. So it makes no sense. Which one? Just look closer. You have the brute, no patience. You have the 2, suffocator, neediness. By the way, you can also say which one that is potentially is. It doesn't have to be, we don't know, right? We don't know their full story, but it's okay. Just give your opinion. 2, suffocator. 3, moralizer, moral police. All right. 4, tightwad, cheap. 5, bumbler, weird, self-conscious. Like, can we do it today? Can we do it today? And then, 6, windbag, talkative, right? 7, reactor, triggered. 8, Vulgarian, no self-control. Which one of this are coming over to the chat? Which one of this? D-Love says suffocator, neediness. Yeah, I smell that. I can smell that, definitely. Anybody else? Anybody else? Let me show it. Let me show it. Anybody else? Anybody else? Yes, Lola will be joining us on Tuesdays. Tell your friends, tell your friends, lovers and friends. Anybody else want to suggest? There's more here. There's one that's staring at me in my face right now. But yes, suffocator, possibly, yes. Suffocator, neediness, smothering. You can smother your partner to death. You know? And what else do we know about just the fact that he recorded all of this? Right? Just the fact that he recorded all of this on a spreadsheet, right? There's that right there is 1 or 2 and not neediness, right? It's 1 or 2. That's a little bit of an indicator of number 2, right? No, look closer now. Let me hear your thoughts before we end. We're 2 minutes over time now. I want to end. Tell me. Which one? No patience. We don't know if his exercise is exhausted out of patience. He might have been waiting for 2 years. But could he be no patience? I'll tell you, a lot of men going through this. It's a lack of patience that led down to this. But what we saw on the spreadsheet, in the data sheets, is not lack of patience. He clearly was waiting days, 2 weeks to get some, right? Which one is which one? She just said, damn. Is it too blurry? If you see multiple, just tell me the numbers. If you see multiples, just tell me the numbers, you know? And I can come. No patience. It's like possibly, but not really. Possibly, but not really. Number 7 is not on the list. I'll tell you right now. It said neediness and triggered to keep this record. No, triggered is something you overreact to. He took his time to keep this record. As a matter of fact, because of the fact that he took his time to keep this record, he might argue that it's not number 1, right? He took his time on that. So let's eliminate 1 and 7, actually, for that reason. Just for this exercise. Let's eliminate 1 and 7, right? No self-control. I'm a Konji na bastard. Hey, Konji. I might even give him some credit of self-control. Maybe his way of having some control is like, you know what? Damn, I resent this shit. But let me keep some record. Let me see how this is playing out in real time, right? I'll give him number 8 as credit too. 1, 7, and 8 eliminated. Gomez says 3 and 7. She's saying 7. That's the second person saying 7. Well, no. When I say reactor, I'm thinking of it as overreaction, as somebody who actually took out, like triggered, like they engaged, they confronted the person. That's what I'm thinking for 7. 7 is more so almost confrontational. It could be just words, but confrontational. Sometimes, by the way they use their words become very, very poisonous for the relationship, like a lethal weapon. They say things subliminals, like there will be some shot. They will throw some shots, right? That you might just feel like buying after you hear. You won't, as a woman, you won't know what happened. Like, why is he talking to you like that? Because you're not keeping track that you haven't done Kerewa for 10 days. To you have to take care of the kids, you have to take care of this. The attraction is not there. It's like, listen, like, now food, right? I can't say yes, he has some level of self-control. Yes, there's self-control. I will give him credit for self-control. So I won't call him number 8 anti-seducer at all. And not 7. 3, it is. Number 3 is high on that list. Shout out to Gomen. Number 3 is extremely high on the list of why this guy is probably repelling Kerewa. Okay. Okay. Number 3 is the main one actually here. And listen, he's keeping track right now in the last 15 days. There's a good chance it shows up in his behavior in every other aspect of life, right? Just something to pay attention to. Just something to pay attention to. So number 3, this number, we don't know about 4. Let's eliminate 4, right? Maybe he's actually like be an anti-seducer in terms of it's not cheap. Maybe he's the kind of guy that buy stuff, take care. Maybe he's overly depending on money and buying stuff for his lady, right? And she just doesn't find him attractive, right? All right, so let's see number. I can't say yes. He has some love. Yes, thank you for that. Yep. Nikus Pepe. Nikus Pepe. Nikus Pepe. I don't know. Nikus Pepe. I haven't seen that name here before. Welcome. Shout out to you. Welcome. I haven't seen that name. I haven't. Nikus Pepe said they both have work to do. This really seems funny. Funny at all. They need what kind of emoji is that? Help face, turkeys, covering eyes. Yeah, they need help. Patricia, hello, Patricia, welcome. I don't know if this is the Patricia I know, but welcome. Shout out to you. Yes, so I will say number 2 and 3 for sure. Keeping this kind of record, it's not guilty. Remember, it's not an indictment. Remember, I said that from the beginning. It's not an indictment, okay? But this thing reflects somebody's personality and how they show up as a seducer, right? He wants Kerewa, but that number 2 right there, and that number 3 is probably like, you kept a track? Okay, shout out to you. You kept track. You took data. You recorded this. But let's unpack. It looks like... what else? How else have you been demonstrating neediness? Or you been policing every move of your wife, right? How else? I would start from there. It doesn't mean it's 100% true, right? I would probably lean in that direction, okay? I will lean in that direction. But, hey, that's that for that. On your way out, do me a favor, hit the like button. Shout out to all 20 of you. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support. You want to help get the platform bigger? Grab the link to this video after they send it to 3 to 10 people by email manually. Just grab the link. Go to the channel page. Grab it. Click share. It jumps into your email. Click email. You can also share on Twitter, on Facebook, all of those different social media platforms. Share. More people need to be having this conversation. We need to be having this conversation with more people. Okay? Accounting says, what if he cheats and brings this data as evidence why he cheated for show partner? Kojo, it gets worse. Seduction, I mate. It just gets worse. It gets worse. But we'll talk more about it. We're gonna dig this back up on Valentine's Day when wife is here. And we'll talk more about it, okay? There's more to this conversation, you know? So, but yeah, I had a good time. We're 10 minutes over time. Let's call it a day at this point. Again, hit that like button, share, and if you're not yet subscribed, subscribe, right? And hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Me love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.